Okay, hello everyone, people watching at home. Welcome to this reconvened meeting of the Human Resources Committee. This is a reconvened meeting of the meeting we had on the 24th of September 2020, which was unfortunately due to a YouTube failure, meant that several of the items were not heard in public. We have a requirement, a statutory requirement for public access to council meetings. So here we are, we're going to run through some of the items again. We won't be having the full presentations and discussions, but I will be reading out a short extract from the minutes from the previous meeting, which we've already discussed, and members will be free to make additional statements if they so wish. So the meeting today has been held under the government statutory instruments for local government England, namely the Local Authorities Coronavirus Flexibility of Local Authority Meetings Regulations 2020. To take account of these regulations, the Council has produced a set of virtual meetings procedure plans, and these are available on our website. This means that any decision made by this committee will have the same status and validity as if they had been made at a meeting in City Hall. So as I mentioned just then, we went through the first 7 items last week, and those are available on the previous YouTube broadcast. So that means we're not going to be doing public forum as usual, because technically we've already heard that. We did receive I received as chair a late public forum request, so we're not going to be able to do that. But I did arrange for the person who submitted the question to receive a written response from the head of HR. Her question was to do with the appointment of director for the Temple Quarter project. So she's received a response to that, and she's of course free to follow up in future meetings. So that's the preamble. That's why we're here. I think we've got 5 members present, I see. So I don't think we need to do apologies as such, do we, Steve? But I know that Ruth Pickgill is not able to attend.
Councillor Pickgill has given apologies. I've heard nothing from Councillor Lovell there, but he's not here. Okay,
so we've got 5 members, which makes us 5 out of 7, which makes us quorate. So what I'm going to do now, if with permission of members, is just run quickly through the draft minutes of the last meeting, which covers what we talked about, and then I'll ask members if they've got anything they want to add, and we'll go from there. So the first item we did was the national pay settlement for chief officers and chief executives. So the committee received a report from the head of human resources seeking the committee's approval to apply the national pay settlement of 2.75% to the pay of the chief executive, the executive director and directors with effect from the 1st of April 2020. We discussed this last time, and we had a discussion. Members noted that a pay award for the chief executives and chief officers had not been implemented last year. We were advised that if we did not accept the recommendation, then the job holders or their trade union representatives would have the right to make further representations to the committee. This is a matter of employment law, and was open to any employee. In the discussion, members expressed the desire that the council in the long term looks at the ways in which we could continue to close the pay gap between its highest and lowest paid employees, and possibly consider a flat rate pay increase. This issue could be raised at the National Joint Council during the national pay bargaining process. So what we did last time was I asked if another member would move to a vote that we accept this pay award. Councillor O'Rourke, I think you moved it last time, so I'm not sure if you want to move it again.
I did, yes, I moved it, I proposed it, and I'm quite happy to do so again. I can't quite remember who seconded it. Maybe it was Councillor Reddy.
Happy to second it, Chairman.
Okay, so we have a proposer and a seconder. So I think we will have a vote on that. So can we have all those in favour of...
Chair, is at this point we can make our points?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Gary. Yes, please. If anybody would like to say anything on record, then please do so now. Go on, Gary. You go.
Okay. Yeah, nothing against any of the individuals involved, but I'm very concerned that we're spending too much of our money on a higher paid when the council, for various reasons, is short of money and should be concentrating its efforts on bringing up pay lower down the scale. I'm also conscious that the individuals at this level have a right to individual negotiation and quite often do, and therefore don't feel that they should benefit effectively twice, whereas people further down the scale do not get the chance to make individual deals. So I can't support the proposal.
Thank you. Does
So
anybody...
would it be, well, I wonder, should I just make some comments? I'm not sure that really when we had this item before, I think that, having had a fuller report on it, the points that brought me to the decision where I felt I was happy to support it were that obviously it is recommended by a national pay body, that these officers didn't have a pay rise for 2 years. I think also I mentioned at the time that I felt that the value that has been added by officers during the COVID period was recognised, and also the cost of recruiting new members. So, it's a false economy in a way not to give pay rises to people who feel that they have earned them and are due them, and they are recommended to us by the national pay body. So those are all the reasons why I felt that I could propose it. Just thought it was worth saying them again.
Thank you, Paula. That's fine. So yes, we do need to have a vote on this then. So Paula has proposed that we accept it, and Councillor Eddy has seconded. So all those in favour of accepting the pay settlement, please raise their hands. Got that, Steve?
Yes, I see 3 there.
Okay, and all those against?
And that's 2. So the motion is carried.
Motion is carried. Okay, thank you for that. So we'll go on to, so that was the only item that required a vote as such. The next 2 items were for information and for the committee to consider. The next item was the draft workforce strategy. We received a report from the Head of Internal Communications and Organisational Development asking the committee for their comments on the workforce strategy. We had a general discussion about the document, which is available in the papers online. That's there for everybody to see. The committee ultimately welcomed the strategy and thanked officers for their work. Members were invited to submit any further views and questions outside of the meeting, which I know has happened, and it was resolved that the actions being taken to achieve the Council's vision of an inclusive, high-performing, healthy and motivated workplace and becoming an employer of choice be noted. The draft minutes do go into a little bit more detail of that, but I think that sort of covers the item and the views of the committee. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that? Thank you. And the final item we need to cover today was a report on a thematic review of sickness in the council. The committee received a report of the Head of Human Resources updating on the latest sickness absence information for the council and seeking the comments and observations of the committee on the report's finding. Again, the report is available online for the public to view. The key points that we discussed that were the council was that overall sickness absence, excluding COVID-19, had reduced, partly due to greater flexibility, including working from home. Short-term sickness, for example, 1 day and 2 days, could be monitored more closely and mitigation measures considered to further reduce sickness absence. We noted that sickness absence was higher amongst disabled and BAME staff, and this should be closely monitored to identify underlying causes. And we suggested that more work was needed in respect of sickness absence being higher amongst staff who live in more deprived areas of the city, and what extra support might be available to people who live in these areas. So We noted that report, and that's what we that's the decision we came to. Sorry, I was just looking at a note on the screen there. Forgot to look at my chat. So the final item was the COVID-19 recovery plan, which is something of a standing item. We'll have this at every committee now. The committee received a report of the head of human resources, providing an update on the current workforce issues in respect of the COVID-19 recovery. It was noted that the information contained within the report was prior to the recent government announcement of further restrictions for the next 6 months. The key items that we covered were that the next 6 months were being given priority for work planning, and longer term planning was not practical at the current time due to the volatility of the crises and continually emerging government policy to deal with it. Council services that continue to have furloughed staff were under constant review, and it wasn't known quite how long this might continue for, but the priority was to retain as many jobs as possible. Staff were being supported to work from home with new equipment, computer screens, office chairs, and so on. And the ongoing discussions were being held with trade unions about extended working from home during the winter months, including fuel poverty arising from increased costs, and all options for mitigation were being considered. Connectivity issues for staff working from home in rural areas were also being investigated. So the committee noted that report as well. So do any members have anything they wanted to add to that? No? Okay, in which case that covers all the items in the agenda. So that's 2 items noted and 1 item voted on. So I think we've covered what we needed to do in today's meeting. Bit of a funny one. Hopefully this won't happen again, but it's I suppose it's indicative of the way things happen. Sometimes technology fails, but it's good to know at least that we're committed to doing everything in public, making all our decisions in public, and making sure the public have access to everything. I can't remember when the next meeting is now. It's in December sometime.
17th December, Chair.
December the 17th is the next meeting. So for any avid watchers of the HR committee, we'll see you then, and I will bring this meeting to a close.